get serious about building content sites and building a profitable business online? Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. We bring you the latest field-tested tips, tricks, and strategies for building a profitable online asset. We interview industry experts, share customer success stories, and reveal our own experiences working on hundreds of sites to inspire and motivate you to make something happen. Let's do this.
This was an epic podcast with Stephen Hockman. So Stephen Hockman, he has a course on mastering on-page SEO, and he dives into a lot of different, aspects of on-page in terms of where to place your keywords, optimizing titles for multiple keywords. We dive really deep into how to structure buying guides in terms of keyword placement, overall structure of the page, different headings, H1s, H2s, title tags, and these things are all practical that you can implement straight after listening to this podcast. But if you want to dive even deeper into this, he's actually offering the Niche Website Builders community a 40% discount on his Mastering On-Page SEO course. I can personally vouch for the course. I have bought it and taken it and implemented a lot of the things in there as soon as I watched it. So he's offering 40% discount. Just use the discount code NWB, and that'll be down in the description. So if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify, it'll be in the description there, or in the podcast notes on the Niche Website Builders website under the podcast section there. We also have links to his new book, Keyword Accelerator Playbook, where he runs through his whole keyword strategy, how to maximize the value of the keywords that you're finding, and then how to plan out your content for the next coming months and years. And we also have a link to his older book, Affiliate Content Secrets. I know you'll learn a lot from this podcast. I learned a lot, asked a lot of great questions around problems or thoughts that I was having around on-page SEO and the structure of my site. And we also dive into things like internal linking, optimizing images. I think that's one area maybe a lot of people don't look to optimize in terms of their keyword placement. So you should hopefully learn a lot from this podcast, and I hope you enjoy it.
This episode is brought to you by Niche Website Builders, an agency dedicated to helping people just like you build profitable content sites. Niche Website Builders are the hands-off content site marketing agency you always wished existed. It's run by content site marketers for content site marketers, and they help both investors and individuals alike build profitable online properties. They provide a fully outsourced approach to content creation, link building, and done-for-you website builds, the same approach they use on their own six-figure portfolios. For example, their content packages come with a proprietary keyword research process, are written by in-house native English speakers, formatted using templates proven to convert, and uploaded to WordPress with affiliate links added so that all you need to do is hit the publish button. Check them out at nichewebsite.builders/show. That's nichewebsite.builders/show, and fill out the form to get coupon codes for 10% more content or a 10% discount on links with your first order sent right to your inbox.
Welcome to the Niche Website Builders podcast. Today we have Stephen Hockman. Welcome, Stephen.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
All right. So I guess I came across you through a podcast and I purchased your on-page SEO course. But before we dive into that, we've got a few things. First things, for people who are not sure who you are or your background, maybe just provide a brief background about yourself, and then we're going to dive into some other things of yours as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So Stephen Hockman, I've been doing SEO and building niche websites and affiliate sites since 2005. That's really when I kind of started dabbling in it. And then I really got started by listening to a guy named Ed Dale, who basically was giving away these different tips and tricks on how to start like your first affiliate site. And it was just really basic stuff back then, but I ended up creating a site, and I think it was like within the first month, I made like my first $2, on like promoting Bose headphones. So I made like this simple one-page site, some headphones, and I made $2 on Amazon. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like I was hooked at that point. So that's really how I got started. And then just since then, I've just been like purely obsessed with this industry. I absorb as much information as I can. I've been building sites since then. And so I've had a portfolio of sites. I've grown sites from basically, I grow all my sites from zero to as big as they can go from scratch. That's just how I like to do it. I don't really buy sites and then, take over. But now I run SEO Chatter, SEOchatter.com full time, which is a free resource for learning how to do SEO in every shape, form, or fashion. And the reason I created that site was because one thing that was annoying to me was I always was trying to find information about SEO on like, hundreds of different websites.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start consolidating all the information to one site. So it's basically the encyclopedia to teach people how to be pros in SEO.
Yeah, I've seen that on your site too. And you've got a lot of, I guess, outbound links as well on your homepage, about page, all over the site, linking not only to your own posts, but to other people's posts, I guess, that are helpful for them. Is there some SEO value for you to do that, or is that just purely just a user experience thing?
Yeah, so I am definitely a fan of outbound links. And I think a lot of people, they have this fear of doing that. And the reason why is because they don't want to send people to other people's sites, right? Because typically you're making a niche site, you want to bring them to your site, keep them on it. You don't want to send someone off where they may buy another product or get their, affiliate cookie started by another site, right? But what I've discovered through my experience is that the more you can associate your site with other big brand sites and other trusted sites, the better you're going to do in the rankings. And so I am very, aggressive with linking out to other sites. I mean, I'll link out to Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal. These are competitors for my site.
Yeah.
I'll link out the SEMrush. I don't care because number one, most people really don't ever click on those links because what I do is I'll basically say, hey, here's information from that site, like a quote, and I'll link to them to give them, credit. But most people won't click on them. But it's associating me with another trusted site.
Mm.
And I remember watching a video many years ago. I think it was Matt Cutts who said this. He said that, you good sites link to other good sites. And so, when you do that, you're kind of providing a signal to Google, at least in my eyes, that you're a trustworthy site.
Would you do that to like another niche site or only to like really high authority sites? For example, say I had james.laceychatter.com and I had some SEO content on there, but I was kind of like low DR, had some content, but I had maybe one good piece that you liked. Would you still link to that, even though it's not a high authority site in that industry?
Okay, so my tip here is, and this is something this was probably the first time I've really revealed this tip, is what I do actually is whenever I want to back up a claim or I want to link out to somebody. So the first tip is I try to link at least 3 to 4 times, at least, you know, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but 3 to 4 times out to other sites. And what I do is I type in the keyword or the phrase I'm referencing into Google, and whoever the top 1 or 3 sites are, those are the people I'll link to, because Google
Okay.
is trusting them for that keyword. And so I'm like, hey, they're trusted. I'm going to link to them. I'm not going to link to someone on page 10 or just some rando site, right? So, for example, let's say I'm looking for a quote, from John Mueller about, using, keywords in the H1 tag or something. I'll go to Google and type in, John Mueller H1 tag. And then whatever the top 3 results are, it might be Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, whatever. I'll look at that one and link to that one because it's already
Gotcha.
demonstrated trust and it's ranking in Google.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I want to change tack a little bit. You just released, right? This new book.
Yeah, so I could talk a little bit about that if you want.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, so I've written, this is my second book I've written. So this is a book I just released called The Keyword Accelerator Playbook. It's pretty new. I released it less than a month ago, but essentially, this book starts the process and the journey before my on-page SEO course, which we can talk about a little later if you want.
Yep.
But basically, this teaches you how to do keyword research from the ground up. And the reason I wrote this book is because I've discovered that a lot of people, they don't even know where to start in that fashion. And I've done a lot of coaching and a lot of consulting, and people struggle with that. And so what I've done is I've put down my keyword research formula that I use to find the easiest keywords to rank for that provide the highest traffic and are the most profitable. And that third part is very important because I've listened to a lot of people talk about they create these websites that are, 1,000 pages, 5,000 pages, and they're making a couple $1,000s a month. And if you think a little bit more strategically about the keywords you choose that you're going to optimize for and write content around, you can actually write less content and make more money. And basically what this book teaches you is how to think differently and target those keywords that are actually going to bring you more money with less pages on your site. And then the second part of the book, so that's the first part. The second part is I teach you how to take all the keywords that you wrote, that you found, a big batch, and then put them into a content plan so you can actually produce that content over time. Because a lot of people, what they do is they might find one keyword, then they spend a week writing about it. And then they find another keyword, another week, right? This thing will help you figure out, okay, how do I map that out to like a 30-day, 60-day, even a year plan? So I know what I'm going to write about when and how I'm going to get to my goals.
Nice. Would you need any specific tools to implement what's in that book?
So in this book, I'm teaching you the strategy behind what to do. And you can use any keyword tool you want as long as it provides at least 3 values, 3 metrics that I talk about in the book. So, but I do recommend 3 tools that I use personally. So you'll find out what those are in the book. But if you want to use, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Ubersuggest, any of that stuff, you can. It's keyword tool independent.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, let's dive straight into your on-page, I guess, let's call it on-page knowledge, because I took your course, I think it was actually last year. It was a little while ago now, but I still remember some of the key points because I implement a lot of those key points in what I'm doing today. And I think one of the most profound points I took from that course was I never used to write conclusions or summaries. And I know a lot of people also, I guess, even on Twitter, kind of debate whether to write them or not. I just didn't bother because I didn't see any real value. I didn't really read the summaries or anything when I looked at blog posts. But that was one of your, I guess, your key areas to place your keyword within a blog post. So now I always have like a summary section or things like that. So without giving away too much of the course, maybe do you want to jump into a general overview of, I guess, the main places you want to have your target keywords?
Yeah, sure. And so let me just talk about that conclusion real fast since you didn't used to write them. Yeah, so the conclusion is an easy place to add your keywords that you're trying to rank for. And what I've discovered through my testing and years of just doing this, that's really how I came up with the course. Is basically I've been doing SEO in a specific way for on-page SEO for so many years, and it's just a consistent strategy that works over and over and over. And there's other people in the industry that do the same thing, and so they've kind of figured it out. And now I'm sharing that with people, which is something I've kept, secret for many years, just profited off it, and now I'm revealing those secrets to people. But essentially, what you want to do is you want to add your keywords into the conclusion because it's just one last signal on the page that Google, hey, this is what this page is about. Like you've gone through, you've scanned it. If you have it in the bottom of the page, that's a signal. And the same thing with the top of the page. So in the course, I talk about optimizing your introduction, the main body, and then the conclusion. And you want to have your keywords in all those spaces spaced out in specific areas. Because when you do that, you've basically shown Google, hey, this whole page is about this topic. And the keywords are in those spots. What I see a lot of people do is they may be top heavy with their keywords, right? And they're talking about the keyword, but then the last half of the page diverts from that topic and you've diluted yourself. And so this is just a simple strategy to say, hey, the whole page is about it. The keywords are in every part of the page. So that's kind of what I'm teaching in the course in that respect.
Are you using your target exact match keyword in those spaces? So conclusion and then introduction?
Yeah, so this is a good topic to cover because, there's a lot of talk in the industry about, Google is just about, what is it? Things, not strings these days, right? Which, there's some truth to that and validity to that. But the fact is, you got to use your exact match keyword on the page, right? A lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. I can just write naturally. Google's smart enough. They can, understand synonyms and all that stuff. But, there's never been a time where I didn't add exact match keywords on the page and the rankings, didn't go up. So it's something that I think people were just kind of in these echo chambers and groupthink that they've heard top, other experts talk about, and they're just kind of repeating it. But it's just simply not true. And there's probably some other guests you've had on the show or will come on that will talk about this too. But yeah, I use exact match anchor text in specific areas on the page. because that's sending the signal to Google that this is what it's about.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's for, and we could talk a little bit more about this too, but that's for main keywords and secondary keywords. That's another distinction that we can talk about, which is, a lot of times people will just optimize for one keyword. They'll say, hey, I want to rank for best air conditioners, and so they just optimize for that keyword. That's the only one they focus on. They don't think about anything else. But in my strategy, and I teach in the course, is, you know what? You need to maximize as many keywords as you can on that page, by a minimum of like 3 to 4 to 5. Like every page I optimize, I try to optimize for 3 to 5 keywords, bare minimum, because I want to grab as much traffic as I can from all those variations.
Yeah. Gee, it's interesting, that variation thing. So that's something that I'm always looking at. I've taken into account the authority of my website before I decide where I'm going to target. Let's take, for example, best air conditioners. I know a high authority site, you can do best air conditioners, then your whole post can be filled with all of the long tails, best air conditioners for apartments, best air conditioners for homes, whatever. But I think on a news site, would you still target best air conditioners and do that, or would you target the pure long tail as your exact match in that example? So, for example, you just started a new site and you target best air conditioners for homes with pets that are, whatever size, instead of going after the big keyword.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I'll actually tell you a little story about that.
Yeah.
And another tip, just, business advice for people. What I do is I will create that main page, best air conditioners, right? That'll be the first page I create. And I'm probably not going to rank for it because that one is so competitive. And I've tried, honestly. I couldn't get there. But I will then go and do all the long tail pages. So I'll do best air conditioners for apartment, best air conditioners for, window, best portable air conditioners, best, every combination of any of them, of all of them. So I'll end up having, 50 affiliate pages on best air conditioners and the different types. And then they will all link back to that main best air conditioners page. And so I'm trying to develop topical authority there, where it's like, oh, he's got the information for all the different types of air conditioners, and that can help strengthen the main best air conditioners page. But, with a keyword like that, you just got to have realistic expectations. You've got the Wire Cutter, Good Housekeeping, Bob Vila, like all these major brands competing. So, you probably won't rank there unless you've got, gazillion links. And the reason I mention that is because I used to rank for a really top head term like that once, not air conditioners, but something else. And I was number 1 for that. And then Google had a shift in their ranking algorithm and they started showing more top brands, and I lost that spot. And I obsessed over trying to get back up there because it was making me, multiple thousands of dollars a month ranking for that term. But I had to just give up. I was like, I'm just obsessing over this. I'll never get there. I'm just going to capture more pages and make up the difference in income that way.
Maybe you've got some advice for me here then. So I rank for a pretty high volume best keyword. Let's use the air conditioning example. Say best air conditioners. My pages, it targets that, essentially that short best keyword, and then I target all the long tails within that post. Best air conditioners, best portable air conditioners, best air conditioners for apartments, for homes, blah blah blah. But I also rank on the first page for a lot of those long tails from that post. Would you then still build out specific pages, for example, best air conditioners for home, separate page, best portable air conditioners, even though you already rank on the first page for those with your main best keyword?
Yeah, so that's a good question. In that case, I wouldn't mess with things if I'm in the top 10, unless I see that the top 5 articles are specific. So let's say your best air conditioner page is ranking for best air conditioner for apartment. And like the top 5 ranking pages on Google are best air conditioner for apartment 2022, right?
Yeah.
I would probably make the page at that point because Google's struggling to kind of, Google's ranking the apartment specific pages in the top 5, and I'm just kind of luckily up there, But if I'm seeing other just generic best air conditioner pages ranking, then I probably won't make that page.
Gotcha.
Because I'm already there. I don't want to mess things up.
Yeah, that's
especially
more cannibalization issue, right?
Yeah, and if you're making money from that page, you don't want to mess things up either. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just give you a just a funny story. Not funny, but actually kind of lame. But I had a page that I was making a bunch of money on, and then I just decided to experiment with the meta title, and I changed one or two words around because I was like, hey, I want to re-optimize one of the secondary keywords,
Oh,
and it tanked it, and I was like, oh man, right? And so I lost a good amount of money because it tanked, but then I had to fix it, and it took like 2 or 3 weeks to come back. But that's just kind of shows you how touchy on-page SEO can be and how it can work. So
so don't mess with pages that are already ranking essentially.
yeah, because you don't want to mess yourself up.
Actually, I got another question on the review style content. So obviously, a lot of best articles will have, for example, I don't, I personally don't like writing a review article that has like 10 different products. Because for me, if I'm giving the user the best whatever, like I know which one the best is, and I want to be like, this is the best, and maybe these other two are best for other things. But obviously, you see a lot of let's take, I guess the supplement industry is probably the easiest one to do because it's like the 10 best protein powders for whatever, and people will just list protein powders and have like a little paragraph underneath it. Do you find that the number of products, you have to have a certain number of products to rank on a page, or can you get away with having less but having more detail about each product?
Yeah. So when I first started um, getting into this space, I actually was ranking like 1,000-word articles, only reviewing 3 products. And it was like the glory days of affiliate marketing. Like I got in right in the beginning and it was awesome. And then eventually Google didn't like that and they started dropping the rankings. And so what I discovered was Google wanted to see pages that had like 10 products or so reviewed. And so I had to just adjust. And so that's what I've been doing. I always focus on at least 10 products if I can. Now, some articles I can't do that because there's just not enough. And so I may only be able to get the 5 or I may only be able to get the 7. You know, uh, I'll give you an easy example of that, which would be a window air conditioner. You know,
Mm.
there's really only one type of that, so, and there's very specialized versions. And
Yeah.
so you can't write more, you can't review more than like 5 because they don't make more than that
Yeah.
essentially. And I'm being kind of vague. There's actually a very specific air conditioner that there's only like 3 brands, right? So you just can't do it. Um, but I just stick to 10, and I try to flush them out. And my buying guides are typically 4 to 5,000 words long, because I'm giving a good overview of each product, and then I'm giving a
Yeah.
buying guide at the end. So that's just
Yeah.
that's my strategy.
Nice. It's interesting because like I wouldn't say I've got a formula or anything, but I like to, something I tried recently. So I usually, sometimes I'll review just 3 products because maybe I have them in the house and I know those are the good ones and they fit well within. But the other day, so I ranked at the bottom of page 1, for example, best air conditioners for apartments. And I ranked at the bottom of page 1, top of page 2. I added one more product. I just put other air conditioners worth mentioning and kind of wrote about this other one. And that bumped me up to the middle of page 1 a few weeks later just by adding the one product. So that's why I was kind of asking like if the products matter. So now I'm kind of like, okay, well, now we're to get another one, maybe add another one and then see if that bumps up. See if I can do, I guess, the bare minimum to see what kind of brings me up the rankings. And then if I have to add more, I have to add more.
Yeah, I'll give it another tip there. Actually, something I've discovered is this is a really good question, and I'm glad we're talking about it because this
Mm.
is a tip that people can think about and use to their advantage. So Google's algorithm, you know, they are assessing all these different pages around that topic, right? And you know, they have this thing called the knowledge graph. And so the knowledge graph, you know, they get that information from other sources and somehow, they work it together and they find out what's accurate. And then they can create like, a knowledge graph about an entity and they know things. So like if you type in anybody famous, like, I don't know, drawing a blank. Uh,
Like Johnny Depp
uh,
and Amber Heard.
yeah, type in Johnny Depp, he may have a knowledge graph and he's got his movies, his production roles, all these different things that Google can assess, right? Now I mention that because if you're writing an article about, the best air conditioners, Google has somehow figured out what those best air conditioner entities are. And so, for example, maybe Frigidaire is one of them in a specific model because 100 other pages are writing about that specific model, but you're not writing about it. Well, that's a quality signal issue right there, because how come you're not mentioning that specific model?
Mm.
And so what I've discovered is the more that like other people start talking about specific products, then you better have those in your review as well, even if you're mentioning them. So like what you did is you just said, hey, other recommendations. You added those entities on the page because Google wanted to see he's talking about those specific brands and models.
Mm.
So, something you can do is you can look at the top ranking pages and you're like, hey, they're all mentioning, this Medea brand and this specific model. They're all mentioning this Honeywell one. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use those. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. So if I'm say I'm an air conditioning expert, and I see these models go, I know these models are dog shit. They break everything, but I'll still mention them in my review maybe as air conditioners that didn't make the cut or something like that, and then talk about why they didn't make the cut. So then you're still mentioning them.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yep, exactly. Because, they're an entity that is connected to the entity of best air conditioners. And so
Yeah.
Google wants to see that association. And so, um, when you outsource content a lot of times, and just say, hey, give me a top 10 post, that person may just go hand select random Amazon products, but they may not even pick all the right ones, because it's like, hey, you got to mention that Frigidaire model. If you're not, you may have trouble ranking,
Mm.
because Google's
Gotcha.
algorithm has somehow figured out that, hey, this one's mentioned a bunch, it's got positive reviews. If you're really an expert, then why aren't you talking about this one?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Because, and I discovered that because, um, many years ago, I was ranking like top 10 for these very, very high traffic volume keywords, making a bunch of money. And I started slipping rankings and I was like, what's going on? I just couldn't figure it out. And then I finally just kind of like, back in my mind one day, I was like, oh, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. So I started adding these different brands in that the other competitors were talking about. And I started to see improvement in rankings. And it's interesting because the niches I get into, I become an expert in, and I know the products in and out. Like I can say, hey, this one's is good for this reason, this one's not, and I know what actually is the good ones. But like you've got these other brands out there, big brands competing. They're just recommending products. They've never touched them.
That is
Never seen them.
spamming.
Like in this one niche I was in, they were like, hey, this product will do this, and I'm like, it doesn't do that. Like this is
Yeah.
complete false information. But it doesn't matter what I think. Google's algorithm just wants
Yeah.
to see they just want to see it on the page. And so I had to reshift my thinking. I'm like, I got to be honest in this, but I also have to make some money. So
Yeah.
how do I balance that?
Yeah, it's funny now. Obviously, all the big sites are starting to have their own affiliate, I guess, subdomains reviewing random things and just spamming a list of products to send people to Amazon or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, the
that just
funniest one I
that's great.
saw, the funniest one I saw was I think it was a People magazine started reviewing best nursing shoes. I was like, are you kidding me? Like People magazine, stay in your lane. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure they just get someone to go into Ahrefs and just write best and then just export every best keyword and just smash them.
yeah.
I want to go into. Oh, don't you carry on there?
No, I was gonna say, I mean, that's since we're talking a lot about affiliate marketing, uh, you know, uh, just people listening to this podcast, like, there's a ton of money to be made in affiliate marketing. Like, definitely go for it. But at the same time, pad out your site with information too,
Mm.
because, Google's algorithm, people have seen their sites get decimated in different updates, and so the industry kind of ratio is, do 60/40, 60% buying guides, best stuff, and then 40%, of informational. And so, just keep yourself safe by just writing stuff that keeps you, getting traffic for informational queries only. So, how does an air conditioner work? What is a thermostat? How to change the temperature on a, whatever the informational articles are.
Nice. Yeah, that's good advice too. Just so people aren't heading their sites as best this, best that, and then getting
Yeah.
smashed next update. How do you set out your buying guides underneath the product review? So you have say your top 10 products within the best article, and then your buying guide underneath. So how does that look?
Yeah. So, I actually created a set of templates that kind of give away my complete structure for buying guides. And I use three different ones. and I literally just have a straight template that I use for those buying guides, and I put the keywords in the exact same spot every time. And so that's like giving me my on-page SEO. But in the second half of that buying guide, I have specific things I always answer about every product. So like I'll say, I'll say like air conditioner buying guide. I'll say, what is an air conditioner? Then I have a block of text. And then how does an air conditioner work? Block of text. And then I'll talk about the features. Okay, top features to look for in an air conditioner. And then I'll list, the 5 top features, and then I'll talk about popular questions that people want to know about those, and so I'm basically got like this kind of repeatable buying guide that I just duplicate on every page, and it hits all of the key questions people have about the products if they need additional help, making a decision.
Are those popular questions pulled from the people also asked on Google, or are you coming up with those?
Yeah, so typically I'll grab them from the people also ask box.
Gotcha. So, so with I guess another spot for the keywords is, I guess within the headings and the title tag as well. And I wanted to cover, because I know you mentioned, I guess it's common best practice now is to have your main keyword at the very beginning of the title. So I do that as much as possible, and I'm almost shit scared to not do it and have like something more catchy. So let's start there with the title that's displayed on the SERPs there. How I guess how far can you stray from having the exact match versus having something that's a little more catchy by adding some power words to it or something like that, where you're making it a little more eye-catching for the user to click on versus trying to balance that with, I guess, Google rankings.
Yeah, great question. So my philosophy is I will take my exact match keyword. I'll take the highest traffic exact match keyword I want to rank for, because with my strategy, I always try to optimize every page for multiple keywords. I don't just pick one. But I'll take the one with the highest traffic, and I'll stick that right in the beginning. Like it is beginning. The only time I will add something before it would be if I'm adding a number. So it might be 10 best air conditioners, right?
Hmm.
I'll add a number, and I'll do that to try to, that'll help with click-through rates. So for example, on SEO Chatter, I've got some pages about quotes, right? So SEO quotes. And so, the top pages had like, I can't remember, maybe 30 SEO quotes. So I did 40. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to put 40 SEO quotes on that page, because now people might go, oh, I'd rather click on his because it's got 40 versus 30 or 10, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and I'll always put that exact match keyword at the beginning. And then the other part of your title, that's when I'll start to play with adding, exciting words or creative words to get people to click, because I want that SEO signal, and then I want to try to get people to click. And I'll also use the rest of that tag to optimize for secondary keywords. And we could talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go into it.
But yeah, so typically, like you can just use that second half of the title to get creative. So I mean, I'll just make up a silly example. I wouldn't do this, but it gives you the idea. So it'd be like 10 best air conditioners. Um, Number 2 is the best in the world or something, like just something, just power word.
Yeah.
Like 10 best air conditioners. Don't miss number 2, or something just kind of clickbaity.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, in regards to like optimizing for multiple keywords, what I talk about in the course is, every meta title and like the H1, they can be optimized for multiple keywords, right? And so what I do is I try to optimize those tags for at least 3 to 4 keywords if I can. And at first you might think, well, how do I do that? Isn't that kind of like keyword stuffing or spammy, right? So back in the day, what you could do is, let's say you wanted to optimize for best air conditioners and top air conditioners. I'll just use 2 words, for example.
Yeah.
And back in the day, people would say 10 best air conditioners, comma, top air conditioners, reviews.
Yeah.
So you've got, both of them. Well, those types of ones can be penalized these days, or you're just kind of wasting real estate. And so what I do instead is what I talk about in the course is I'll find the overlapping words, and then you don't necessarily need to repeat them, right? And so let me throw a third keyword phrase in there, for example, so you can see how this works. Let's say I wanted to optimize for best air conditioners, top air conditioners, and top AC units, because Google is ranking the same URLs for those 3 variations. Okay. What I would do is write something like 10 best air conditioners, parentheses, top AC unit reviews.
Mm.
So what I've done now is I've optimized for best air conditioners, exact match. I've optimized for top air conditioners because I have the word top after air conditioners.
Yeah.
And then I've optimized for top AC units because I've got top AC units in there. So I've now taken 3 keywords, put them in the title, and I'm not overly stuffing it, but I'm giving
Yeah.
Google all the signals. So that would be 10 best air conditioners, top AC unit reviews. And I've now just like maximized my SEO power on that meta title.
Gotcha. Okay, so then how does the H1 look then compared to that? Is H1 gonna be the same, or are you looking to target different keywords again?
Yeah, so in the past, you could use the H1 to be a little bit to optimize for even more keywords. But Google recently, within the last year, they had a shift in their ranking algorithm where they started messing with the titles. And so a lot of people started seeing their titles being rewritten.
Mm.
And what they were doing a lot of times is Google would just take your H1 and then they would stick that as your meta title and it would mess things up.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, that's not what I wrote in my meta title. And so my recommendations are you can make it easy and just copy your meta title into the H1.
Mm.
There you go. A lot of times that solves the problem. Or you can just take off those qualifier words. Like you can take off 10, you could take off, extra words. So it's just best air conditioners, top AC reviews, 2022, remove 2022, So if it does switch it, it's not that big of a deal. But typically these days, I just straight copy them and
Yeah.
meta title and H1 are the same because
Okay.
that's keeping you safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same just because I don't want to bother changing the H1. Just keep everything simple.
Yeah, I used to optimize it differently because, the recommendation for the title tag is 60 characters to keep yourself in the viewport of Google. And then the H1, you could go to like 70 characters. So I would always try to add an additional word or something or phrase in that H1 to add relevancy. But now I just straight copy them.
Gotcha. There was actually an interesting question or thread on Twitter I saw yesterday, and I wanted to ask you about this one. And it's related to these H1 and meta title tags as well. So take for example, we probably even use the aircon example. So let's just remove the idea of these long tails. Let's just say you're going after best air air conditioning for apartments. So say that's your meta title H1, and then for your H2, would you then also add best air conditioning for apartments, then list all the air conditioners as H3s? Or would you list the different air conditioning units as H2s because you've already got best air conditioning units as your H1 and title?
Yeah. So what I do and what I show in the templates that I offer is I will make the first H2 the same exact match keyword as I want. So if I want to do best air conditioners for apartments, my H1 will be that in some form, and then the H2 will say best air conditioner for apartments list, for example.
Mm. Okay, so you're always, I guess, say you're repeating your main keyword as an H2 always.
For this type of content, yes, and for the most part, yes, even for
Even
informational content.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. So I'm doing something partly right
yeah.
then.
But I'm trying to think of an example of where I wouldn't do that. I mean, I think 99% of the time I make my first H2 on the page the same exact match keyword I want to rank the
Yeah.
most for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do the same. That's how I would set that post out. I would do best air conditioners as the title, and then my H2 would be best air conditioning units. And sometimes if there's like some kind of long tail that's part of it, I might go 4 or whatever, and then it'll be H2 will be each unit, depending on the post that is, because there might be some other H2s that I want to target in there.
Yeah. That's a good
Okay,
practice.
perfect. And then I guess as part of on pages is the internal linking as well. Not so much on, but more site structure. I guess, do you have any internal linking practices that you like to do, or even just strategies that you use within your content?
Yeah, so internal linking is a great thing. That's a good thing you brought up because I was reading I think I was watching a video or reading a tweet from Charles Float this past week,
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he's done a lot of consultations with people that have gotten smashed by this most recent algorithm update for affiliate sites and other sites. And his correlation was people didn't have optimized internal anchor text. And so they just had generic words as their internal anchor text, or they weren't linking enough times or whatever. So, they were kind of hurting themselves because they weren't sending the right signals to Google internally what the page should be ranked for. Um, so, that's an easy way you can optimize your web pages. And so there's a specific ratio that I mentioned in the course on how to keep yourself optimized, but not too over optimized. Because there was a study done by Matt Diggity many years ago where he sent a bunch of exact match anchors to one page and it tanked it. And then he ended up,
Mm.
you know, readjusting that to kind of dilute the percentage of exact match value. And that helped improve. And so I've kind of taken that strategy and expanded upon it on my own sites. And so I give you a specific ratio on what to do. But
Mm.
generally, what you'll want to do, overview, is you want to have some pages with the exact match anchor text as a contextual link inside the content. So you're writing a page about how to fix an air conditioner. And then inside there, you could say, hey, you may just want to skip all this and buy a best air conditioner. And then that would be your
Mm.
internal anchor text to the best air conditioner page. And then, you want to find other pages on your site to link to that best air conditioner page, but then you want to kind of dilute the exact match phrase in those so
Yeah.
that every one is an exact match. And so you can add filler words into that. So you could say, best air conditioners page. You can do just partial match, which are just, you know, air conditioners here. So you
Mm.
just kind of starting to dilute it, but you still have the keywords in there. And I talk more about that in the course, how to keep it safe.
Do you think there's any difference between doing that within a paragraph versus you see some sites that have like related and then they have the title of the page that's it's not part of the paragraph, it's just kind of like a separate thing that's just showing like a related post that someone might like?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of those, and I've never done a specific test to find out does that matter or not. But I will reference this article I read from the late Bill Slawski, which passed away recently, and he was studying a patent, and he discovered that there was a section that was updated, and it talked about annotation text. And what annotation text refers to is the text that's around the link.
Mm.
So, I'll give you a crazy example. Let's say the page is like, hey, this is all about dog food, great dog food. And then you have a link in there that says, check out the best air conditioners. Like Google's algorithm supposedly can look at that surrounding text and say, hey, that doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't correlate to this best air conditioners. And so what I do is I find pages where I can insert that internal link with words around it that
Mm.
are topically relevant and assess it. And I may even just write a new paragraph if I need to, just
Yeah.
to get it in that page where the annotation text around it is referencing that link. So, a simple example would be, um, let's say the article is about uh, heaters, right? Talk about heaters doesn't make sense for air conditioners, right? In a section, I'll say, hey, by the way, this thermostat setting is similar to what you'll find on an air conditioner because air conditioners operate the same way. So if you're thinking about an air conditioner for your home, check out this best air conditioners page because it has my top reviews.
Mm.
And then that'll keep you cool all summer long. So I've now inserted a block of text to give that annotation text surrounding the link
Yeah.
to give it value to pass on to the next page.
I see when with your internal linking structure, you're almost giving a call to action to head to your buyers page. Like check this out, this page is here. Do you, I guess, do you then also internally link to a page, say a buyer's page, without that call to action? For example, maybe I'm writing an article about air conditioning in apartments, and I go, yeah, air conditioners in apartments, da 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 da, and I hyperlink or internally link that air conditioning in apartments to the best air conditioners for apartments. Would you also do something like that instead, where you don't have that call to action, but you're just linking it so you can get that internal link over?
Yeah, if the page and the surrounding text relate, then you can do that as well if you don't really
Yeah.
want to send them to that page. So I've done that many times. I just want to, another tip that people can use is, typically your highest traffic web pages can send the most paid link equity to the next page. And so I'll try to link a high traffic page to other pages I want to boost in the rankings. And so, yeah, I mean, if it's an air conditioner page about air conditioners, then you can link to apartment air conditioners, commercial air conditioners, uh, window air conditioners without having to do that call to action. I was just showing an example of how I would force it into a
Mm.
page that didn't relate, to kind of make you understand what annotation
Yeah.
text meant.
Would you ever internally link to different pages with the same anchor text on different pages? So, for example, let's say you have best air conditioners for apartments, for homes, whatever, but you internally link just best air conditioners or just air conditioners on some pages, but you link that to, say, best air conditioners for home, and then another page links the same anchor text but best air conditioners for apartments.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would never do that because I want to send the signal to Google internally that that target page, only one page on my site is about that term.
Yeah.
And so I would never use the same term to link to other pages because you're just diluting it. And I think that may be part of why some people have suffered losses when they're internal linking.
Mm.
Because I see that a lot actually. I've done consulting and coaching calls where I'll look at someone's page and I'm like, hey, you're linking, like air conditioner to this page about Windows air conditioners, and you're also linking it to this one about portable. Like, you got to
Yeah.
stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure then that the long tail is targeted in those, and if you're for example doing best air conditioners, that needs to link to the best air conditioners page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question because when I think about what I talked about earlier, I kind of was confusing on that. But yeah,
No.
and so, and I mean, an easy way to do that is just keep an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet. Like that's what I would do. Is I'm like, hey, I wrote an article. I'm now going to find 5 to 10 articles I can link to it, and I'm going to copy down what my internal link text is, so I have a spreadsheet of it.
Mm,
You can also use a tool by Spencer Hawes called Link Whisper.
mm,
That does it automatically for you, so you can go through and actually see all those and just have it done in WordPress.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
keep
for
a hold
sure.
of those. Keep your eye on those because that's very important.
I think once this podcast comes out, if listeners go a week or two back on the Niche Website Builders YouTube channel, I think Adam and Mark are actually going through Link Whisper on will be a recorded now, will be a recorded live stream. So if anyone's interested in that, they can go through that.
Cool. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've loved
Um,
that tool. It's been great.
oh, awesome. So I guess one last thing. Don't have to dive too deep into it because I know this is a lot of it's in your course as well. But optimizing images. Now, I guess yeah, people will say maybe you don't need images. I always include images now because of the course. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm always including images so I can include, I guess, the keywords within. Maybe let you explain where you put the keywords in for the images, and then how do you put them in? Because I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong, but I just do it anyway because I'm lazy. Where I just literally name the file and make the alt text the exact match keyword that I want to target. I don't even write a description. So I don't know if that's good or bad practice, but maybe I'll let you expand on that.
Yeah. So that's an easy area people can boost the on-page SEO signals for their pages. Is just adding images and then trying to add an image for each keyword you want to optimize for. And so, if you're optimizing a page for 3 to 5 keywords, then try to have 3 to 5 individual images for each one image per keyword. And so that's important because you're a couple reasons. Number one is you're adding on-page relevance for that keyword because you have images that are optimized for it. Number two, your image can rank in Google image search, so you can get traffic through that. And then number three, what was my number three? I'm kind of drawing a blank. Yeah, okay, we'll stick with two. I'm drawing a blank,
Yeah.
but it's helping your page in many different ways, right? And so um, what you're doing is, the fast and easy way to do it, and that's perfectly fine, right? You take an image, you make the file name the keyword phrase, and then you make the alt text the keyword phrase. Um, the only thing I would suggest there is the alt text on an image is really there for screen readers and people with disabilities. And so if they have a computer that reads to them, stuff on the page because they can't see it, that alt text is technically supposed to be for them. And so, a good practice there is to add your keyword, but then add other words to describe the image. So, back to best air conditioner, your alt text can be best air conditioner, but best air conditioner, um, inside a living room, you know,
Mm,
because that's what the image looks like. So you've got your keyword, but then you added in that descriptive text. So now you're kind of serving SEO, Google algorithm, and helping the user. So that's a
yeah.
good practice. So just, try to be creative there to get them in there to save yourself, from any, ADA complaints or something.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a third area you can optimize images, which I talk about in the course, is you can optimize the metadata. And so Matthew Woodward, he had done a study on this and found that if you optimize the metadata, you can help improve rankings for that image in multiple places and the web page. And so you can use a image editor like Photoshop or GIMP or anything, even some free tools online that can insert that metadata. And you're essentially adding the keyword to certain fields in the metadata. And the metadata is just like an extra piece of information attached to the image that the user doesn't see, but it rides along with it. And so the most common example of that is photographers who do professional image, portraits. They'll load up all this metadata into the image so that they can find out who's copying their stuff and use it illegally. Or they
Mm,
might want to say, hey, I use this camera, or this was the sun setting time, whatever. It's just kind of like notes. And
yeah.
then it rides along with the image. So you upload it to your site, it's still there, you just don't see it. And so, well, that's just a third area.
Gotcha.
So that's how that works.
Did, does the number of images have an impact, I guess, on page with rankings? So obviously, if maybe one article has 5 images, you only have 3, is that going to make a difference? Would you then add 2 more so you can kind of be this on the same page?
Yeah. So my recommendation there is you need to look at the SERP in Google and find out what are the other people doing. So a super basic example would be, let's say you wanted to rank for home storage ideas. You know, that's going to be your keyword phrase. Well, if you look that up, the top ranking pages are probably going to be picture posts with like 20 to 30 home storage ideas with a picture and a link to buy something,
Hmm.
right? If you write a home storage ideas post and it has 0 images, I think Google's algorithm is going to say, hey, that doesn't make sense. Like, you don't have any images on this page, and I want to see images. And so it's going to be a case by case basis. Another example of that would be like a tutorial, right? Like, let's say you're like, hey, here's how to use Google Analytics to find, your organic keywords. That's a step by step tutorial. That should have some images of each step, to help the user. If you don't have the images, it's just, you may not rank as high as a site that does. So I don't really, you know, say, hey, I need 3 because he has 3. I just do it based on what the user really needs.
Nice. No, that makes sense. That's a good place, I think, to end this podcast. We covered all the questions I had and more. It was awesome. I got to actually ask you some questions that I needed answered as well for my own side, which is great. But do you want to maybe dive into, before we go, your maybe an offer for your course for the niche website builders audience, and then maybe where people can find you and follow you and all of that?
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, I'm pretty active on Twitter. So you can just go to Twitter and look up SEO Chatter blog. That's my handle. You can also visit me at seochatter.com. If you want to jump onto my email list, I send out weekly emails with my new blog posts, tips and tricks. So that's seochatter.com/subscribe. But I'm offering all of your listeners a 40% discount on the Mastering On-Page SEO course. That's really my flagship course that teaches you how to optimize your web pages in the best way possible to increase rankings and traffic. And you can see the reviews that other people have only adjusted on-page SEO areas using my tips, and they've seen dramatic increases in rankings. You can check that out. I'm going to give a discount to all the fans. So yeah, I'm sure you guys will just put some links in the show
Yep.
notes to try to find those. But yeah, that's what I'd like to do for y'all. I really just want to help people as much as possible do better SEO, rank their websites high in Google, take the mystery out of what they need to do to get it done. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to do that in many different fashions, by blogging, creating courses, and doing podcasts like this.
Awesome. And I can vouch for this course. I bought this course, I think it was last year. And yeah, just the process is that you can take from it instantly and start to apply to the blog post you're currently writing or the next blog post you're going to write. it's great because essentially once I went through some of that stuff, the next blog post I wrote, I could implement a lot of the things straight away. So if anyone's interested, check the description. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the YouTube description. If you're on Spotify or any other podcast platform, it will be in the description there. There will be a link and a discount code. We'll also put a link to Stephen's new book as well if you're interested. That will go to Amazon. And there will also be, there's also show notes on the Niche Website Builders website. So if you go on there, we'll have a little bigger description of the podcast, and we'll have the links in there as well for anyone there. So thank you for coming on, Stephen. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Until the next episode, goodbye.